What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and joining me for this review of Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 9. Let's get into the fiasco that is Stacia and Nate. Stacia and Nate. Okay. When I look at Stacia and Nate, I see two broken people who have issues with abandonment, and as they should, because on the one hand, you have Nate, whose mother abandoned him at a very young age, and then you have Stacia, whose father abandoned her, I think, before she was even born, or before she uh, could have any recollection of him or any memories of him. So they both are dealing with issues of abandonment from very significant people in their lives. Understandable, completely understandable. Nate, to me, seems like he is just trying to go through life doing the best he can. Like he's accepted it. My mom abandoned me. It is what it is. I just have to push forward. And yes, he may have some trust issues or abandonment issues with the women in his life, but he's just trying to push forward. Stasha, on the other hand, even though she's in therapy, it seems like she needs reassurance that the men that she thinks or that she deems important in her life are not going to leave her like the way her father left her. She needs to be reassured. She needs to be constantly reassured that this is not going to happen. And unfortunately, there's just no way to reassure anybody of that because there's no guarantee of anything in life except with the old adage of death and taxes. That's the only thing that's guaranteed. Anything else and everything else in life, it's up for discussion, it's up for negotiations, it's a roll of the dice. You just don't know. So I feel bad when I watch Stasha and I see her like begging for this reassurance from him, worried that he's not gonna fall head over heels in love with her and want to stay with her for the rest of his life. It's difficult to watch because I feel the uncomfortableness of Nate when she's asking him these questions about, measure your love, the love that you have for me, measure it and tell me what it is. When she says that you can be doing all of these things, but you can still not love me. You can move in with me, talk about having children, talk about having joint accounts, but you can still not love me. And I need reassurance and it's like, girl, look, I understand that this is a very strange process. And it's a very expedited process. And, everything has been happening very quickly, but you cannot, no matter how fast you get married, go on a honeymoon, live together, you cannot rush the feelings of the heart. It's just not going to be rushed. And when Stacia told him in the kitchen, when she says to him, I'm not putting you on a timeline, but I want to know that you love me by decision day, or I'm saying no. Joking, not joking. No, I'm joking. No, I'm not. That was just very cringy to me. That was so cringy. You're laying out, okay, we know that's how you feel. And there's nothing wrong with feeling that way. There's nothing wrong with feeling like, you know what, I really need this man to say that he loves me. I need to have reassurance that he loves me before I say yes on decision day. That's obvious. That's for everybody. That applies for everybody, that they want to have some type of reassurance that you have some type of a deeper feeling for me than just kind of liking me for me to say yes on this. That just goes without saying. But for you to verbalize it like that and basically give this man an ultimatum, it was just cringy. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And then when she asked him, on the love spectrum, how much love do you have for me, or how do you feel about me, and he says a 4 out of 10, and she didn't like that response, and he was like, that's 40%. And she's like, yeah, I know it's 40%, but it's only 40%. And so he was like, well, how do you feel about me? And she said 8 out of 10. How, Stasha? How can you have so much love for him when you barely don't even know him? Stacia says, Stacia is like Pastor Cal's ultimate student. Because she took the words of Pastor Cal and she ran with it. When Pastor Cal said, and he said this throughout the years on this show, that love is not a feeling, love is a choice that you make. Love is in the acts that you do for someone. It's not a feeling. It's you make that decision that from I love you, and this is how I'm going to show my love to you by the things that you do. She's taken that and she's ran with it because of the fact that She's constantly telling Nate this, that, love is not a feeling, it's a choice. And I'm choosing you. I'm making a conscious decision to choose you. And just because Pastor Cal said it doesn't make it the gospel truth. I understand that Pastor Cal is very likable. He seems to be very intelligent, very down to earth. He gives great advice. But because he said it, it doesn't make it the gospel truth. It doesn't make it a scientific fact. For a lot of people on earth, love is a feeling. Love is definitely a feeling. And I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's not. I have no idea on that. I don't know what the scientific evidence is out there of what love is. But I don't think there's anything wrong if Nate is like waiting for that feeling to come, or waiting for that feeling to intensify for her. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because that's how normal people are. They're waiting on that feeling of, I feel love for you. I'm in love with you. I love you and I want to be with you. Girl, calm the hell down. This is one of the things about Married at First Sight that really bothers the heck out of me, is that the show has been on for a very long time, and it seems like now people understand. Not people understand. I feel like now the people on the show are just trying to get to the end result. They want to get to that very dramatic moment when they have to make that decision of whether they're going to stay together or get a divorce. And they don't want to put in the work. They just want to do the bare minimum, and they want reassurance that you're going to choose me on decision day. And they don't want to put in the work. And the work is to live life together as a married couple. And, to do the things and go through the things that regular married people go through. And it's not about week 2 or week 3 trying to figure out what is your decision on decision day. I need to know, because once I know what you're going to decide on decision day, then I can act accordingly. I don't like that. I don't like how everything is centered around what's going to happen on decision day. I just want them to live their everyday normal lives, get to know each other, have conversations with one another. For example, I really enjoyed, even though, things kind of fell apart in the next upcoming episode, I really enjoyed watching Morgan and Ben talk about their insecurities, talk about their fears. And yes, I'm going to get to them in my next video. I really enjoyed watching them, because it's like they were just having a conversation about themselves. Whereas Stacia and Nate, Stacia wants to gear the conversation towards, I need to know how you feel about me. Do you love me yet? Are you going to choose me? Are we going to stay married? Do you want to be committed to me? If you love me, how much do you love me? Love me 80%, 30%, 25.6%? Girl, what are you doing? No, ma'am. Stop it. So later on, they bring up the whole love conversation again. And her main thing about Nate is that she feels like he's not doing enough. Number one, she got on his case because he wasn't revealing enough about himself. He wasn't peeling back the layers and getting to the core of who Nate is. And, I don't know if she expected him to like look deep within himself and then just like start crying and curling up into a ball on the floor because he peeled all the layers off and he saw something there that was like tragically, I don't know what she was expecting him to do, but he was just like, look, I'm doing the best I can with letting you know how I feel, but there are some things in my life I just don't have no feelings for. And it could be something as major as him losing his mom. Now, I don't believe that he has no feelings about his mother abandoning him. I know that there's feelings there that he's just suppressed. I totally get it, but I just didn't like how she was like, you're not deep enough for me. You're not deep enough. You're not going deep enough. You haven't pulled enough layers back. Who the hell are you? When did you get your PhD in psychology? So I'm like, just let the man live. Just go through regular everyday life. And soon, in his own way, in his own time, he's going to reveal what you want to know. Because I am a firm believer, anything that you ever wanted to know about someone, you will definitely find out. Everybody will eventually at some point show their true selves. It's going to happen, guaranteed. It might take a little bit longer than you expected, but it's going to happen at some point. Anything that you've ever wanted to know about someone, at some point, you're going to know everything that you've ever wanted to know about them. So she tells him that you're not doing enough to let me know that you're committed in this process. And he says, what are you talking about? I've moved in with you. We've had conversations about joint bank accounts. We've had conversations about having children. I think I am putting in the work to show you that I am in this. And so then she says to him, well, you can show me all of that and still not love me. And it's like, girl, what do you want him to do? And so when she said that, he checked out. He was like, well, look, we're going around in circles now because I don't know what else to tell you. And so then he tells her, you're trying to get a response out of me. She says, your way of trying to get a certain response out of me is a form of manipulation. Like you're asking your questions in a certain way, in all kinds of different ways, just for me to give you the response that you want. And he says that's a form of manipulation. And then she's got this look of pure confusion on her face, like, what? I don't think it's manipulation. Yes, it is manipulation, Stacia. Yes, it is, because you tried every way, you came to this man in all kinds of different directions of making him say something that you want him to say without just being direct with him. And it was manipulative, for you to try to get him to say something that you want him to say. And so after that, she says, well, do you feel differently about me now? This is exhausting to watch her. I mean, she needs constant reassurance. She is so insecure in this relationship. And it's just awful. It's just awful. She has like no confidence in herself in this relationship with this man. And it's just awful. So then they take a cooking class together. And then she talks about, how love is a choice. And Nate tells her, throughout the conversation, he tells her, look, I just don't want to be manipulated. Oh, no, he says, I'm sorry, I take that back. He says, I just don't want any ultimatums. I don't want any ultimatums. He says, my last relationship, I think he talked about a previous relationship where the girl was giving him ultimatums and, he was like running around like a crazy person trying to, fulfill these ultimatums or doing whatever. He didn't like that. He didn't like that in himself at all. And so he doesn't want to go through that again. And so they, at some point all the couples have a group therapy. And I guess this season they're going to be trying out different therapists, I guess, to replace Dr. Viviana. They've given Dr. Viviana the boot, or she left. I have no idea. She's just gone. And, I guess they're going to try a different therapist, which to me is kind of like auditioning different therapists to take that third spot. I have no idea what's going on, but they had a therapist, right? And all the couples were having like this group therapy session with this therapist chick. And when it came for Nate and Stacia to talk, their issue was that, she feels like he's not showing enough to her to let her believe that he's in this, that he wants to be in this. He's not doing enough to convince her that he wants to be in this. And he's like, I don't know what to do because I feel like that I am doing as much as I can to let her know that I am in this. And I'm like, exactly. I don't know what else you want this man to do. And so, they had like this wheel, and the wheel had like a variety of emotions on this wheel, like anger, sadness, happiness, whatever, and different variations of all of these emotions. And so when it was their turn, I think the therapist started off by asking, so how do you feel right now? Or something about how they felt about the relationship. And everything that came out of Stasia's mouth was negative. She felt lonely. She felt sad. She felt alone. She felt depressed. Everything she said was absolutely negative. And Nate wants her to see that he's actually trying. And he says to her, to show his example of him trying, he says to her, I've never been the kind of person to ever want to go to therapy. But since being with you and talking to you, I've made the decision that I need to go to therapy. You're right. I do need to go talk to someone about what I've been through. And so him going to therapy or making that decision to go to therapy has everything to do with her. And it's like, she's got some type of an influence on him. And he's letting her know, I'm listening to you. I'm taking note of what you're saying and I'm following through with it. And I think she says something like, well, it hasn't happened yet. You say you're going, but it hasn't happened yet. And child, So after the therapy session, they're talking, just the two of them, and Nate says that he's very frustrated that Stacia does not acknowledge the work that he's putting into this relationship. Um, and then he tells her, "You had told me that words mean nothing to you, but now you're letting me know that even my actions don't mean anything to you. So, like, what the hell do you want me to do?" And I thought that was a really good point. And in Stasha's frenziness, in her frenzy of trying to figure out if this man really wants her, really wants to be with her, is he going to say yes on decision day? In her, chaotic state of mind, she's completely overlooking the little nuances that this person is doing for her. Because he could have been like so many other of these guys on this show that check out on day one. Either they don't move in with their wives, or they're constantly going out, not coming back home, or whatever the hell they're doing. He's been there. He's putting in the work. He's letting her know how he feels every step of the way. Questions that she's asking him, he's answering them. And I'm like, what more do you want this man to do? So he wants her to be patient. He's like, I need you to have faith in me, and I need you just to be patient. And it seems like she wants to see something right now, right here, right now. And I'm thinking that she wants words of love and commitment. She wants to hear him say, Stacia, I love you. I love you more than anything in the world. I'm going to be with you for the rest of my life. I am choosing you. I am choosing to love you. I think that's what she really wants this man to say at this very early stage of the relationship. And then Nate tells her that if you don't have any faith in me, then I just can't see myself in this. If you don't have the faith, when I'm telling you, you don't want to take those words to heart, and you don't want to believe me when I'm telling you that, just stick with me, be patient with me, and you're going to get what you want eventually. If you can't even see that, Nate is like, then this is not going to work. It's just not going to work. And then he gets up and he walks away. And right before he walked away, I think he said, you wanted an emotion, you got emotion," or whatever he said. So Stacia and Nate, girl, you need to calm the hell down and live life, and stop analyzing every little thing that he says and every little thing that he does. Does this mean that he loves me? Does this mean that he doesn't love me? Is he going to say yes? Just forget about all of that and just try to make the best of every moment, because you're going to get to decision day, which is going to happen faster than you know. And you're going to realize we just wasted a lot of our time arguing and nitpicking, and didn't take advantage of the time that we had to really get to know each other. And girl, just let it be. Just let it be. In the words of John Lennon, let it be. Live your everyday normal life. Don't talk about, don't analyze, don't try to measure anything. Don't look at things under a microscope. Just live life. Get to know this man. Go out and do things with him. Now, I don't know when I started watching Married at First Sight, but it wasn't in the very, very beginning. I wasn't there for season one. I do remember, I forgot her name, the one that Viviana replaced, that therapist, the blonde lady, I think, who ended up, hooking up with one of the people one of the contestants on the show, cast members of the show. The man left his wife for her. That woman, I remember her, so I was definitely there for her. But what I'm trying to say is, there was a time on Married at First Sight where it felt like people were there, they're just trying to get to know. It's like, okay, this is weird, this is strange, let's just try to make the best of it, instead of people who are like on day one automatically figuring out, are you gonna say this on decision day? What are we gonna do on decision day? I don't want to talk about decision day. I don't want those words to ever be mentioned until we're like days away from it. But when we're weeks away from it, I don't want to hear the words decision day, because decision day does not matter. What matters is the here and now of me getting to know this stranger who I'm sharing this home with. That's the only thing that matters. So Stacia, you've really disappointed me. You're a very accomplished woman professionally, but when it comes to your personal relationships, you're like all over the place. You're completely falling apart. You're completely falling apart. And I feel like that if he doesn't do and say the things that she expects, she's going to check out. She's going to absolutely check out, and she's going to miss an opportunity here, because I don't know if this guy's made for her or not. I don't know if these people are good for each other or not. We haven't had the chance to see that, because it's been constant, analyzations of everything he says and everything he does. So I don't know. I don't know what to say, but I need Sasha just to be like a normal person, and just leave all the analyzing alone, the questions, the measuring, the gauging. Just leave all that stuff alone and just get to know this man. Do the thing. And maybe they are doing things when the cameras are not there that's fun and exciting, but we're just not seeing it. All we're seeing is these really deep, heavy discussions about the relationship. And I need Married at First Sight to do better. If that's what's happening, I need them to do better. But I don't remember anyone being this analytical about the relationship so early on like this. And I'm not saying that there never was. I just don't remember anybody being as bad as Stacia. That is my review of Nate and Stacia. Thank you so much for joining me on this. And I will be back with the rest of the couples. Stay tuned. If you like this content, subscribe on your way out. Don't forget to rate this video, and I will be right back.